Hey guys, it's Tombox here. Thanks for tuning in to MST.TV. I got a really special deck profile for you guys today. This deck is very special to me personally because it belongs to my fiance. She's quit most of Yu-Gi-Oh for the most part, but she did keep this deck. And with this deck in mind, what deck is it? It is Madolche. She spared no expense on this deck for sure. And for those of you guys wondering, yes, these are those field centers I've been mentioning. And yes, they are super rare foiling. And what's really cool is you're supposed to be playing them upside down. So you have your deck is trash. It just points to them. It just really highlights how bad of a player they are. And then we also have the other upside down field center where you have Yugi and Kaiba dabbing on your opponent because they are still a third rate duels with a fourth rate deck. I suck at my own intro. But anyways, this deck, these are going to be available very soon. Stay tuned on Discord. I'll make an announcement and everything about this. And yeah, these are really sick. I know Manav has this one already, and this one I've been passing out when I went down to Seattle. But these are going to be on sale now. That was like the pre-sale, and now we're into this deck profile. So I am going to be teaching you guys how to play this deck. I at first just thought that, hey, this is just a nice fun rogue deck. Oh boy, was I wrong about that. I can see why this card is hell of expensive, and if you're gonna be playing with Madolche, be prepared to break the bank. This card is just going up and up and up, and it is. I wish I really kept mine because now I actually have to proxy a copy in here, which is pretty sad. But anyways, let's get into this profile. I'll be showing you guys some one-card combos, which is really disgusting, and let's just go through it, man. Now, I have to say, this deck is really scary, and I kind of disregarded it earlier on, but okay, first of all, we have triple Pettingcess. Pettingcess is the equivalent of a speed word Terror Top, so that you can summon out more from the deck. In fact, most of the cards in this deck just summons more stuff from the deck, and you just extend from there. If you do use the effect to summon out from the deck, which is a special summon trigger, you will lock yourself into only summoning out Madolche monsters. When you have no monsters in the graveyard, you can summon this card from your hand for free. It's a special summon, however it does activate, so it's an activated effect. Someone can change Maxi if Maxi was still a card. Luckily it's not. Okay, so that being said, that just means that even if you kind of get locked out, say the effect of summoning from the deck gets shut down, you can still use the free special summon, and then now you can still summon other stuff from your extra deck, maybe some of your utility. But most of your extra deck is locked into playing Madolche cards anyway. So this is the equivalent of Terror Top, and it gives you another free summon from the deck. Okay, so that is out of the way. Now we have the Stratos of the deck. We have Madolche Magilene. She is your one-card kill combo, and she's one of your best openers. Before, the older builds, you want to play like double summon and all that crap. Now that's no longer necessary because Pettingcess just gets you there. It's the free summon because you can go ahead and summon Magilene, add Pettingcess. You have no cards, no monsters in the graveyard. Activate Pettingcess, summon her out, get yourself the Pettingcess or the Angeli, depending on the play that you want to make. You can bait out so many hand traps with this deck. It is pretty funny. And since it's a one-card kill deck, I focus this deck to go second more than to go first. Now we have triple Madolche Angeli. This is the equivalent of a Lone Fire Blossom. You tribute this card and you can summon out a Madolche monster from the deck. That monster cannot be destroyed by battle, but during the, I believe, the next end phase, your next end phase, that monster will get shuffled back in. Usually this summons out a Hoot Cake because it's an auto setup for Hoot Cake, and Hoot Cake can again summon another monster out. Since that monster cannot be destroyed by battle, I recommend putting it into defense mode for most cases, and you can make it very hard to kill. And I'll show you some opening boards as well that I find very hard to break. And there's a lot of combinations. Even if you're not the most fluent with the deck, you will still be able to pilot the deck to the point where it's really annoying for your opponent. So we have Madolche Hoot Cake. This is, what's the equivalent? I guess it's kind of like a tour guide. I don't even have the equivalent. You banish a monster in the graveyard to summon another Madolche from the deck. And usually the monster that you're going to summon out is going to be Messin Gelato. Because if you have a beast type Madolche monster on the field, when you special summon Gelato, you will be able to add a spell and trap, and that's going to be an effect that you abuse non-stop because it's not once per turn. As for the last one-ofs, you have to play a copy of Pettingcess. Any older build would not have played Pettingcess, but Pettingcess is right now a very key card in the deck. And without it, this whole deck could actually fall apart. And you don't even mind opening with this card because Because Pettingcess can also special summon not only from the deck but can summon from the hand, and it reduces the level, which puts it to 4, now making the as a very decent Xyz material for your Queen Tiramisu or the Teacher. And finally, the last one we have 1 copy of Mew Fui because she's also a beast. On top of being a beast, it gives you the extra body you need to extend your plays. And if they wasted their Veilers, that means you get a free body on top of that. And if you have Messenger, you can still go pretty far, especially if you leave this on the field. Alright, so that's the Madolche lineup. Onto the hand traps. Now, hand traps is a very difficult choice. Again, mentioned from before, you don't want any cards in your grave or monsters in the graveyard. So I decided to play triple Phantasme since it does not put a monster in my graveyard. Unless my opponent kills this, then hopefully I'll have a Hoot Cake to banish this card. But this gives you the additional draw, gives you that fetch, gives you that reach. Fun fact, if you're in Sphere mode in the deck and you have a Pettingcess, you can kill your opponent's entire board and basically OTK them from there. And yeah, it's really, really gross. But Phantasme is the hand trap of choice. And since I am going second, another good card to break the board is with Kaijus. I run a full Kaiju package. I just realized that I only really need 1 Madolche Magilene to go through, and the other 4 or 5 cards I have in my hand, I just want to use that to break the board so I can just kill them. So this is my lineup right now. I play all these Kaijus, just break the board. And moving on, now we go into spells. We have Madolche Ticket and Chateau. Let's go double Ticket, double Chateau. Very different from the older builds of Madolche. In the older builds of Madolche, these are kind of bricky. I'm almost tempted to run a 3rd Ticket because I don't want to search this card out and maybe get drolled out a little. It's not usually an issue. You can treat these tickets rather than searches from the deck to the hand. Think of them more like barrages that summon out, and think about Chateau as ammo to trigger off your Chocolate a la Mode to get free summons. It's literally free summons. You play these back to back in some cases to just maximize on it, and I've got some combos to demo with it. So yeah, you want to play these, and you'll probably get both these cards on the very first turn, so it's just adding towards your pluses. Triple Called by the Grave because you don't want to get interrupted by a hand trap, and you really need to eat those out. We play double Kaiju Slumber to break some of these boards. To me, it's quite fun to play this card because if someone plays Mystic Mine, this puts a monster on their side of the field, making it very easy to break the Mystic Mine. You can use your monster to go into a Phoenix to pop now that they have a monster on their side. So this is, I think, pretty beneficial. And then double Twin Twister in case I want to break some back row. Forbidden Chalice to take out Artifact Scythe. If anyone tries to Scythe you, you can Chalice them and you can have a board with Phantasme. This works really well together. Why is everything in 2s? I don't know, it seems like an awkward ratio, but I don't really need triples of anything. I just want to see like 1 or 2 copies, and then I just need that 1 Magilene to really kill my opponent. Or maybe or like not just Magilene, but there's also Pettingcess or even Angeli. All of them works. 1 Upstart Goblin for the 39 card deck, and we have triple Impermanence because this is the hand trap that is not a monster. I can even consider playing Typhoon in this deck because any kind of hand trap works. So that is the main deck. So the extra deck is quite tight, to be honest, because you're most likely going to be locked in by Pettingcess's summoning effect of a conditional. You're locked into only summoning Madolches. So we play triple Madolche Queen Tiramisu. You are pretty likely to use at least 2 of these. Maybe the 3rd one is a bit excessive, but I don't see why you shouldn't play 3. And yes, my fiance decided to ulti up the deck. Double Teacher of Glass Souffle. You can even play a 3rd one. I've been noticing that usually Hoot Cake banishes like Angeli, but nowadays I see that Hoot Cake banishes Glass Souffle more than anything else, and then we use the field spell to put back the regular monster into the deck to trigger off our Chocolate a la Mode. So yeah, that's why it matters. And this gives you a free detach, putting the monster in the graveyard, and then you can just stack Chocolate a la Mode on top. And speaking of Chocolate a la Mode, you have to play 3 copies of this bad girl. And by the way, she's hella expensive now. Yeah, these are like 30 something a piece. But why? It makes up for it. The combo will show you why she's worth the price. And this is actually one of the more expensive decks, I would say, that's not really within the meta tier. But it should be one of the decks that you pay close attention to, because if you're not ready for it, you will lose, guarantee. And it's already won like a regional, so it's, or like topped a regional, so it's pretty crazy. But this card, the summon effect is not once per turn. And because of that will not summon once per turn effect, it fills the board with just enough to kill your opponent non-stop. And then for links, 2 copies of Madolche Fresh to start. You should play 2 because you need 1 to go into another just to manipulate your own board. Okay? So yeah, there's that. And of course she protects your spells and traps, and there's a way to set up an opening board with her, which is really neat. As for my last 5 cards, they're just all utility. For Xyz, I have a Gaga Cowboy in case they go into time, and it's really easy to do. Just special summon the Pettingcess, don't use her effect, and then just normal summon another dude, Gaga Cowboy, burn for game. Okay, so if your opponent's gonna be reading your cards, and this is a combo deck, any combo deck I would recommend just leaving at least 1 burn card just in case you go into time. Yeah, kind of scumbaggy, but hey, 1 Dweller if you know your matchup. So you can go into her instead of some of the other plays if you think that's more beneficial. And the last 3 cards, we have a Boral Sword, Nightmare Phoenix, and a Mrs. Radiant. Mrs. Radiant is more like a going, I guess, turn 3 card where you try to maximize out on the damage. And if you got sheer raw damage to kill your opponent, she can sneak you a game. This is mainly there to pop problematic back row, and Boral Sword is a kill card. If your opponent fails to break your board, you will have a ton of monsters left over, and I will highlight that in the combo coming up very soon. And you can go into a Boral Sword, and with that Boral Sword, they're basically just dead. The combo of 1 card, you can spin away 4 cards while, I guess, doing 8,000 damage. I think that is more than sufficient. I think you guys are kind of curious to see. I'll show you guys a bunch of 1 cards, and then I'll show you the 2 card combos, which are not as effective, but you can use the 2 card combos to kind of eat some hand traps along the way. So the reason why the Madolches are so insane is that most of the combos only require 1 card, and 2 card will give you like a variation in case you get hand trapped or something like that. But if you have an open hand like this, 6 cards of course, because you're going second, you just toss a bunch of these cards into the graveyard, attempting to break the board, negate a bunch of stuff, maybe pop something, I don't know, Twin Twister, pop some back row, cool. And now you're down to like 1 card left. So we're gonna go ahead and just normal summon out the Magilene effect. We're going to add Pettingcess, Sister Cake. Sister Cake comes out. We're gonna activate her from hand, reveal, summon. We're gonna summon out Pettingcess. You don't need to go into Angela. You can go into Angela if you want, but you'll get a less effective play for sure. And here we go. So this is very greedy. We're gonna go ahead and overlay that into Teacher. And we're gonna detach the Magilene. Now, don't shuffle any cards back if this is an empty graveyard, and don't use her effect. In fact, you just want the monster there because you're gonna put it back with Chocolate a la mode. So, Chocolate Pettingcess. Now we're going to use her effect to shuffle a monster back in. So we're gonna shuffle back in the Magilene, and that's going to trigger her. And her trigger is not once per turn, so we're gonna summon 2 monsters. So remember to remove the Pettingcess last, because Pettingcess is the material it needs to have to do the summoning effect. So you can just line it up so that that's at the bottom. Then we're gonna detach the Glass Souffle. And from the Glass Souffle, we're summoning out the Angeli. Angeli is gonna get tributed, summon out Hoot Cake effect. Now remember to put Hoot Cake in, I guess it doesn't really matter what mode you're in, but if you're going first, put in defense mode, going second, I guess it doesn't really matter. So Hoot Cake comes out, we're gonna use Hoot Cake's effect, we're gonna banish Glass Souffle of all monsters because we want to keep the Angeli, and now we're gonna summon out Messengelado. Messengelato's effect, we're gonna add the field spell. If field spell's already in hand, then add the ticket. Now we're going to activate the field spell. That's going to put back all your Madolche monsters back into the deck. And we're going to put back the Angeli. That's why, because Chocolate a la mode's trigger requires a monster to be put back into the main deck. It specifically states main deck, so if it goes back to the extra deck, it does not count. And since we put Angeli back, well, we got ourselves another Messengelado. And with Messengelado activated, we're going to get ourselves the ticket. This ticket is going to be another summon that we get off. And when we activate that, of course, we have to detach to get this summon. So yeah, that was a little misstep for me. We're going to activate this card. We're going to manipulate the field now. So, first of all, I need my 4, so let's get rid of these 2. And we're going to Sistart. So Sistart up here, we have our open zones again. And let's just take these 2. And we'll go into Queen Tiramisu number 1. Queen Tiramisu number 1, we're going to detach the Messengelado. And we already have both of these up too. This hasn't activated yet. And we're going to shuffle back a couple of cards. So if it goes back into the deck or the hand, ticket will trigger, and it's a mandatory trigger. We can get ourselves back a Hoot Cake, and I guess we can put back, well, technically you can put back a Chocolate Mode if you don't have very many copies of her, which is fair. And now you get to spin 2 cards. I know that the card states right here, I'm just gonna do some ruling for you guys. It states that once per turn, detach 1 XYZ material from this card, then target up to 2 Madolche cards in your graveyard. Shuffle those cards into the deck, then shuffle cards your opponent controls into the deck up to the number of Madolche cards returned. See, it says Madolche cards returned, not put back into the deck. So because of Chateau, you can add a card to your hand if need be. So if you add a card back to your hand or put it anywhere, it's just counting the number of cards that you put back from the graveyard back to anywhere. So you will be able to spin 2 cards. So I'm going to add this back to my hand since I have Chateau, which replenishes my hand, gives me a major plus and gives my opponent a major minus. And then that's going to trigger off Ticket. Ticket's going to activate, summon out a level 4. So in this case, I guess I'll just summon out the Magilene. It doesn't really matter unless I left Hoot Cake on the board. And we're going to overlay this again. Now that's 2 cards spun away. And now we're going to go into our second Queen Bee. And Queen Bee effect again, we're going to detach the Magilene. This time we're going to put a Magilene, and let's put Pettingcess back. Okay, so these 2 back to my hand, spin another 2 cards. Well, then you're like, oh, Tombox, you don't have enough damage. Well, that's not true. I have tons of damage. Remember that Pettingcess we just put back? Yeah, she's back. And also, you can just stack another one. And with the Chateau, that's plus 500, 500. This is 8k worth of damage, spinning 4 cards, which is usually enough to kill your opponent. And you have a fat hand to go with it. You have a second turn to go with it. So that is the turn 1 kill combo. And if your opponent had an empty board, you don't need to go all the way. If you want to save time, just when you're halfway through the combo, just attack for game. All right. Okay, let's go into the turn 1 opening board with a Magilene, or I guess this time I'll demonstrate it with just the other card. Okay, for this combo, this is the opening play if you go first and you set up a board that is very well protected. And again, it's so cheap to make, and you can have a lot of negations and stuff like that to follow up with that protection. And even if they have a Boral Sword or a Borreload, you're very unlikely going to die from it. So, depending on what you have. If you have Magilene, you can automatically do this combo because your Magilene will be your normal summon. But if you want, and that would be like a legit 1 card combo. But if you want to do a 2 card variant, you just need Pettingcess and another normal summon. But even if you don't have the normal summon, you'll have a pretty decent board regardless, okay? So I'm going to showcase how that is going to be. So we're going to go ahead and special summon out Pettingcess. And if you special summon out Pettingcess, special summon out Pettingcess. Okay. If you were doing the Magilene play, you would just normal summon it, and therefore you have the exact same thing. But just say Messengerlotto wasn't here. Say I had another Pettingcess. Well, let's put these away too. So let's just count her out for now. We're gonna go ahead and just overlay the 2, and we're gonna go into Teacher. Again, Teacher is just gonna detach. Don't use her effect to shuffle things back in, because you'll lose the key monster that you need. And now we're going to go into our Chocolate Mode. We're going to use her effect once per turn to put a card back, and because something was put back, we're going to detach our Glass Souffle, and now we get to summon out our find it, Angeli. Where are you? There you are, Angeli. And in attack mode, don't put in defense. If it's in defense, it has to be face down. Angeli will now tribute herself, summoning out our Hoot Cake. Now, when you summon out Hoot Cake going first, I recommend putting her in a defense mode in the center, because even if you start switching zones, your Sistart will still point to it, and this cannot be destroyed by battle, which is one of the reasons why Boral Sword won't kill you. But what about Borreload? Can Borreload steal this card? We can make sure that it does not. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and activate Hoot Cake. We're going to banish the Glass Souffle, leaving this in there. And we're going to summon out the Messengerlotto effect. We're going to add the Chateau. This all looks pretty familiar from the very first combo. It's bread and butter. We're going to activate this card, Chateau, putting the Angeli back into the deck, triggering Chocolate Mode. We're going to detach, and now we're going to summon out a second Messengerlotto. And now we're going to go ahead and add ourselves the Ticket. Now, here's the part that deviates from if you have a monster or not. If you have another monster, by all means summon that normal summon right now, because you need to go into the Sistart. Sistart will keep your board alive, and it's very hard to kill Sistart. But if you don't have the body, you want to go into the Glass Souffle, and I'll show you what happens to say we advance into your opponent's turn and see what happens there. So in this case, if you do have a normal summon, say I had that Pettingcess, you can just normal summon out the Pettingcess, and we're gonna go ahead and get these two out of the way, put them into the graveyard, and we're gonna go into Sistart. And with Sistart, we're gonna overlay these two into the second copy of Glass Souffle, which is why you need multiple copies of Glass Souffle. As you know, one is banished already and the other is now right here. This board is extremely protected. For every other card, yeah, let's just put them face down. Like, oh my god, I didn't get very much. I didn't get anything out of that ticket. It's true, you didn't get anything out of that ticket. I mean, sure, if you wanted to get something out of that ticket, then you could have gone into Queen Tiramisu and just not shuffle any cards your opponent controls into the deck, I believe. But anyways, if you're on the Glass Souffle, if your turn advances to your opponent's turn, well, during the draw phase or whatever, you can detach a material, okay? And now you get to put 2 cards back into the deck. And if I were you, I'd probably put back one of the Chocolate modes if you only have, well, if you only have 2 copies or 1 copy. I recommend putting her back in along with a Messengerlotto, because you're gonna summon out the Messengerlotto later on. So say we did put these back, all right? And technically you can even add to your hand if you really want it, but I put it back into the deck because I want it to be summoned out. So we do that, and then go ahead, the ticket is going to activate. And by the way, you're going to use Glass Souffle to protect the Hoot Cake. Now this is unaffected by all monster effects as well. So yeah, this is not stealable and it cannot be destroyed by battle, which makes it very sticky. And now we're going to summon out a Pettingcess in attack mode. Unfortunately, it has to be in attack mode. And effect of this, we're going to summon out that Messengerlotto in defense mode. And now we're going to add ourselves another copy of Chateau, which means we get a full trigger later on, and we get to put the Pettingcess back into the deck as well. So you've got a lot of things going for you. It's kind of hard to kind of push through this. This is 2k, this is 3k wall, this is just indestructible, and your opponent needs to use spells to clear this. It's just not that easy to break something with this many bodies. You get that you're going to take a lot of damage getting Pettingcess attacked through, but if they attack you, you'll take, what, nothing if they try to attack these. So you'll take 3k, and then maybe this, and then that's about it, unless they can keep on pushing with additional monsters. So this is the opening play that you can do. Okay, before we get into the 2-card combo stuff, let's just look at Angelique. Can she solo this as well? So in other words, you have 9 copies of something that can open a full board. So Angelique time. Let's go ahead, summon out Angelique, effect of Angelique. Now we're gonna go into Pettingcess effect, summon out Pettingcess. Wow, seems like we're exactly in the same spot. Now we're just gonna gun through this part because you've seen this multiple times already, but you don't have the extra body at the end. That is something I want to address right now. If you do have another copy of Pettingcess, why didn't you summon out Pettingcess in the first place? So that kind of tells you you don't have a Pettingcess in your hand. But if you have Mufoi, and Angelique, yeah, you get to do the full combo with the extra monster left behind as well. So now we're gonna go ahead and overlay these two. And teacher, you have to detach here. You're not gonna be able to not detach unless you already have field spell. If you already have the field spell, you can summon every material out of her. But if you don't have the field spell, then you should detach, because you're gonna need the extra monster for the effect coming from Messengerlotto and the field spell. So now we're gonna go ahead and overlay. Okay, so chocolate mode, effect, put a card back, and because we put a card back, we're gonna detach, and we're gonna summon out. We already used Angelique, so we're gonna go straight into Hoot Cake Town, and the Hoot Cake Town is going to banish the Glass Souffle, and we're gonna summon it out Messengerlotto, add field spell, activate the field spell, putting back the Angelique, which allows us to detach the Pettingcess to summon out a Messengerlotto, which gives us now the ticket. And now we can activate the ticket. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do in this case. You're kind of stuck here. So we're going to link these two off. And we're going into our Sistart. Let's put her on this side. And we're gonna put these two together into a second copy of Glass Souffle. And this is if you're going first. Yes, you do get that protection. This is a 3K wall, this is 2K. These are not targetable. You can make this one so that it cannot be affected by monster effects. So there you have it. Unfortunately, I believe her effect of Glass Souffle is you can only use each effect once per turn, and we did burn her effect earlier on. If we didn't burn the effect, I think we would have the extra monster on board, and the ticket summons, we have 2 extra monsters if we had the effect available. But that depends on whether or not you have a field spell. Looking at this hand, I probably wouldn't even have made this play. It would save the Angeli for the longer play to come. But yeah, so 1 card wise, yeah, you can still do the combo. Okay, let's see some double combos. So, Pettingcess and Hootcake, how does this work out? We're gonna special summon this card out, and we're going to grab her older sister. Seems like this is like a sister package that always come out together. We're gonna normal this one out. We're gonna put these two together. We're gonna do the same shenanigans over and over until we got this full combo down. So, we're gonna get ourselves Glass Souffle. Glass Souffle is gonna do her thing. Detach, okay? And we're not going to shuffle line. We're going to protect the Hoot Cake. And now we're going into our shuffle mode. She's too good. Honestly, she's too good. Okay, so from this point on, you can actually put this card back, and then you'll detach a card anyway. So go ahead and do this. So we're going to put a card back and detach a material. Now we're going to summon out Angeli, because we didn't go there yet. Go ahead and just Angeli out into our Messenger Gelato. Gelato is going to fetch us a card, the ticket, and we're going to go ahead and use Hoot Cake. Sorry, when I'm looking through the deck. We're going to banish the Glass Souffle and summon out another Messenger Gelato. This time we got the ticket out first. I guess it doesn't really matter. Well, it kind of does. You want to get the ticket activated as soon as you can, or else you can hold both of them in your deck or in your hand. And go ahead and Messenger Gelato. And Messenger Gelato effect, get yourself the field spell. I think this one you can try to field spell into field spell. There is another combo that lets you do that. Cool, Messenger Gelato. And of course we now have Chateau. So we're going to activate Chateau. That's going to put Angeli back into the deck. And because I put Angeli back into the deck, you trigger both the Madolche ticket and her. So we're going to detach this, and now we get additional bodies. Wow, free bodies! So her effect is going to be Chain Link 2. So I guess get more level 4s, I guess. Just a variety. And here we go. A full cardboard because you had both Hoot Cake. So the order and the sequence changes what you have in your hand. Technically, I still have 3 cards in my hand, 3 or 4 cards, depending. And if you want to kill your opponent, well, go ahead. It is now open season. Just convert these two, and bam, bam, you still got it. Same combo, not as effective, but hey, it could have ate. You could have ate a hand trap along the way, and they still wouldn't know what to hit him. Yeah, so kind of gross. And of course, if you don't know how they're gonna die, of course you just slap that on, and you slap this on, and now there you have 8,000 damage. 8,000 damage, and yeah, that's pretty gross. Okay, so this 2-card combo is called, I'm going to call it the green combo because this is really fuel efficient. You know, you can maximize on your fuel economy on this one. So you're going to go ahead and get both of these monsters out. They're both like single-handedly able to kill your opponent, but hey, we're going to do it the other way. We're going to special summon out this card. Yes, we are summoning out our sister. She always tags along. And when she tags along, it's great. Now we're going to summon out the Angeli. and we're gonna tribute the Angeli, and we're gonna go straight into Hoot Cake. So what the hell is this combo? What's going on? This is a kill combo, of course. So we're gonna banish the Angeli and summon out the Messengerlato. We're gonna start this whole combo out with a ticket. Now, a lot of people know that killing off the Pettingcess monster is usually the best way to go, so we're gonna save her. Instead, we're just gonna go ahead and link these two together, and we're gonna go into our Glass Souffle. We're gonna detach the Messengerlato, and we're gonna put the Messengerlato back in, only for the ticket to summon the Messengerlato back out. So we're gonna summon this card back out, and now we got ourselves the field spell. Wow, we haven't even used our Pettingcess just yet, and they're like, oh my god, I'm just waiting to kill this thing. If they wait too long, they'll be dead before they even know what hit them. So, okay, so I have Chateau. Do I want to activate this? Well, you have no cards in the graveyard, so there's no point. You gotta save it, because you're gonna play Chateau back to back. And next, we're gonna get rid of our Hoot Cake and our Glass Souffle. Don't worry, Hoot Cake is gonna come back. He's gonna make a comeback very soon as I go into Fresh to Start. This is a really dumb combo. Honestly, you shouldn't be trying to do this. And okay, now Pettingcess and the Messengerlato now goes into our Queen Tiramisu. If there's anything to spin away, then yes, go ahead, get yourself an extra spin. But instead, we're gonna just go straight into our Choco a la mode. If there's nothing to spin. If there's nothing to spin, we can do this. We can go full chocolate mode, and let's just line up our resources accordingly. So this is the ammo line we're gonna go through. We're gonna go through the Xyz, then the Messengerlato, and finally the Pettingcess. Well, we haven't used our effect yet, so we're gonna go ahead and use our effect. Now this is already burnt out, so let's just put this one upside down. We're gonna use our effect. We're going to put back the Hoot Cake, and then through her effect, we're gonna detach and summon out the Hoot Cake. Don't summon onto the arrow. If you summon onto the arrow, you screw up the entire combo. So don't do that. And then, now we're going to activate the Chateau. Chateau's gonna shuffle these cards back. In other words, all the resources you've used earlier, well, they're just gonna go back now. And Pettingcess is gonna go into the deck, only for you to activate the effect of Chocolate mode and detach the Messengerlato, for you to summon out another Messengerlato out of the deck. Where are you? Here you go. And Messengerlato's effect, we're gonna go ahead and add ourselves another copy of the field spell. So we're just gonna play the field spell on top of the field spell. Because of this field spell's effect, we're gonna put the Messengerlato back into the deck. And because that happened, we get to detach the Pettingcess and summon back out that Messengerlato, which results in me adding my last ticket. Where are you? There he is. So now if you go ahead and overlay the two, and you go into your Queen Tiramisu that you put back earlier, seems like you summoned the same monsters multiple times, and you already have the material to spin, so you can go ahead and detach and spin back your Chateau, and I guess you can put back the Messengerlato if you want to, or the Pettingcess, so that you can constantly cycle the same play. You've basically used nothing, and finally, if you want to kill your opponent, technically this is enough damage. This is 3k, this is 27, this is another 2k and 2k, but then if you want to guarantee the kill, you have 10,000 damage on the board doing this combo. Very stupid, and you still have a relatively decent sized hand. So yeah, there you have it, guys. This is the Madolche. Why Madolches are so scary and why they're insanely good. Even though they're only playing within their own monsters, you have nothing to fear because you have the best board removal with Queen Tiramisu. You have the best summon engine coming from Pettingcess, and the entire deck is just, hey, let's just attach tour guide effects to all these monsters. Anyways, that's all I got for this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit me up with a thumbs up. Hopefully these cards don't spike up. I mean, this card's already hella expensive. If they're taking it in for 30 bucks and selling it to 36, who knows how much. If it wins an event, these are just going to be even more expensive. They need more prints of these cards, guys. So anyways, Thank you guys so much. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more stuff. I got another combo I want to show you guys, which is the latest update to the Thunder Dragon combo and why they are so scary. What's up with the Pisty? What's up with the Beat Cop? I finally reverse engineered it and I can show it to you guys. If you guys want to see it, smash that thumbs up and subscribe, notification bell, all that stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please drop us a like so we know we are doing a good job, and you can also subscribe to MST.TV for more fantastic videos by clicking on the button on the left. Don't forget to check out our partners at Imperium Duelist. They make really high quality mats, including some of my own limited edition release stuff. And if you want to check out one of our past videos, click here on the right. As always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV, and I'll see you next time.